pockets and scattered about her head and body, the couch and floor. She watched time roll across the worn carpet as if heading for the exit. Is this what they mean by runaway inflation? She asked. Come back here, you coward. Sighing again, she arose and gathered the money. A few crumpled bills she'd stuck was a soft